Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
We're getting ready to do something really exciting. My guest is Dr.Herve Damas. Did I say that right?
Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And he's a radiologist. He's a former NFL Buffalo Bills player, and he's in Miami doing something very exciting we're going to talk about. And, of course, we're going to talk about medical marijuana, among other things. And I have a wonderful friend here, too, and his name's Rob Nozell, and I know he's shy and he doesn't want to come on the air because we're just going to talk right now with Dr. Damas. So welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And we're going to put you on Facebook Live, so we have a lot of people that we're going to start this right now. Very attractive, and he's...
I paid her to say that.
I
paid her to say that.
Okay, it's on there now. Okay, so Dr. Damas, you have had quite a, I'd say, life. You've done lots of interesting things, and I guess once, you're famous from being in the NFL, but that didn't work out so well, did it?
No, I'm a typical, I guess... not for longer. Right? There's a saying that NFL stands for not for long. And so I was not there for long, but I was there long enough to have the experience. And, it turns out, in retrospect, 20 some odd years later, that suffering the knee injury kind of allowed me to find other things to pursue and lead me to this path. And with some of the things that are happening with regards to head injuries and things like that, probably saved me from some things. I gave up a knee, but I found my passion in some other things. So. Okay.
So your passion is great that you now, you went to medical school and you became a radiologist.
Okay.
And, I know a lot of radiologists, and it can be a boring job after a while. I know you're just looking at x-rays all the time, right? But you took it much further. You're very interested in health and wellness, aren't you?
Yeah. So actually, I left my radiology residency program to become a cannabis clinician because of my personal experience and what led me to find cannabis. So after football, I did a number of things. I got involved in strength and conditioning and health and wellness. I was a manager at a large chain of health clubs in New York sports clubs. I was the wellness director at the College of New Jersey, which used to be called Trenton State. And I was also a professor of health and exercise science there. And
is that all? And you had children, you had a family too, right?
There's a few other things. I've been wandering. I've been kind of like sampling the buffet of life and
I like that.
Figuring out what works for me and just accumulating these experiences and kind of things that speak to me and what I like. And the thing that kind of propelled me into medicine was very traumatic thing for me, I guess for anyone, is that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer for a second time in 2002 and passed away in 2004. And prior to her passing, we had this really, really, like, I can't even put it into words. It was this really touching mother-to-son conversation about happiness and doing the things that you should be doing to like fulfill yourself. And that really struck a chord with me. And, what really happened was she asked me if I was happy with what I was doing. Like, I can't complain. I'm a professor. I run a wellness center. Well, I make a good living. And she was like, well, that's not an answer. I asked you if you were happy. And I hem and hawed a little bit more. And, she said, that's still not an answer. She said to me, I remember when you were playing football and you had a fire in you. And I remember you had like a purpose and you were full of joy. She said, you're kind of going through emotions now. I'm like, really? I thought I was doing well. What are you talking about?
Smart mom.
Yeah. And she says, why don't you go do something that you really want to do and go be happy? And it's like, you like the body. Why don't you go do something with it? Why don't you become a doctor? And I was 33 years old at the time. I said, what, go back to school at this age? Are you kidding me? And do all that work? And she got me with something, and I'll never forget that. She says, well, you never struck me as the kind of person that was afraid of hard work. In that moment, I said, you're absolutely right.
Oh.
And there it was. And, unfortunately, she passed later that year. It was 2004. I packed all my stuff up and moved down to Miami. And 2005, I was back at in undergraduate school at Florida International University, taking basic science classes with 18-year-olds, and there you go, and that's how it started.
That's a beautiful story. Well, I can see you have the sweet soul of your mother.
Oh,
I
thank you.
feel that, and so she knew her boy.
Yeah.
And she knew who you were and what you could do, and you do seem very passionate now. So you did find it, didn't you?
I did, and I'm so happy with what I'm doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So let's talk about what are you doing. Let me just remind, we do have somebody just came on, our Dean Tendrich just came in watching, and so Dr.Herve Damas is our guest, and he came up from Miami, and he's doing something fabulous, and we want everyone to be able to go down there. So tell them all about it. So
I am opening a wellness center in Wynwood, Miami, and it's basically a combination of my life's experiences and my personal kind of things that are important to me. And
we call it passion.
Passion, yeah. And so it's primarily involved in the cannabis industry. I'm a medical marijuana doctor now, or a cannabis clinician, if you want to be really technical. I prefer cannabis clinician, but medical marijuana doctor is cool with me. And what we'll do is provide people cannabis evaluations and certifications, referrals for mental health counseling and treatment, nutritional counseling, and it's a wellness center. And so we'll also have mind-body services, including acupuncture, massage, Reiki, yeah. And then outdoors, 2,000 square feet, will be our peace garden, and it'll be our outdoor yoga studio, meditation space, and an event space, and a place where people can just come to hang out. And we just, for me, it's just, there are so many things in life, right, that you need to deal with and that you need to learn how to deal with it. We're going on this wonderful journey, and you got to have a backpack full of things to kind of make it. You got to have your water and your supplies and your tent and your medical kit, and all those things are going to help you make it through this journey. And
what are you going to call it?
Oh, it's called Grassroots Medicine and Wellness.
Because I just heard the word journey, and I thought, that's right. So it's Grassroots.
Yeah, Grassroots Medicine and Wellness, because it's interesting because that's how it started for me. It was just, someone really close to me seeing that I was going through a lot, and, being a former athlete and involved in that institution which frowns upon cannabis, and then also being in institutional medicine, in allopathic medicine, which also frowned upon it. I was going through some things in life, and after trying anything and everything and, rejecting synthetic medicines, the Oxycontins and the Percocets, and just said, okay, I'll smoke a joint. Like, it was kind of basically,
of course.
I don't want to do this, but I'm my way.
Pain, and I've got to do something.
I've got to do something. And when that happened, I was like, what? Wait, you guys are kidding me here. This has been available all this time, and this was the thing I was looking for. And when that happened, I said, that's it. If I ever get a chance to become a medical marijuana doctor, I'll do it.
Good for you.
Yeah. So
now I want to just, and I don't want to forget to do this, because I know I told someone you were going to be on the air, and this person is addicted to Ambien. He had a very bad thing happen in his life many years ago. And for years now, that's how he gets to sleep. Correct. I told him I thought that what you probably could help him get off of this. Is that true?
Correct. So the wonderful thing about this plant is that it has so many medicinal values. So a lot of people, it's been stigmatized as a result of the federal prohibition policy. So there's kind of like, there was the initial reefer madness, campaign kind of, propaganda to drum up fear, and oh my God, these people are smoking and they're going crazy. So the plant has been used as a medicine, as many other plants have been used as a medicine for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And so after Prohibition, it was in the late 1930s, then we got kind of like the stigma attached to it. So insomnia is something that affects tons of people. We get older. Like I said, life happens, right? You're thinking about things. It's hard for you to wind down, in your little backpack to make your journey. You might not have the tools or the proper understanding of sleep hygiene. And so, sometimes you need something to help you sleep, to bring it down at night. Ambien is really tough. It is a really tough drug. People get really bad dreams from it. It's addictive. Now you can't sleep without it. So it's kind of like, well, I know it's time to go to sleep. And if I don't take my little buddy over there, it's not going to happen to me. And that brings on anxiety, because every night, this is not going to happen for me unless I take this. And so, that's kind of what we do at the Wellness Center. It's kind of like, okay, you don't always want to be dependent on some sort of medication. You need to have some other things. What happens the night that you don't have any medication? What are you going to do then? Right? Do you know how to properly bring yourself down at night? Do you know how to properly get yourself in the proper mind frame, create the atmosphere that you need to have, whether it's stimulates from the outside television or other things, or reading, or having the proper temperature in the room? All those things are really important in order for you to get yourself a proper night's sleep. If you don't know what those things are, you're always going to be taking something, right? Because you're watching TV. You might be watching the news. The news is bad news.
Yeah.
Right. So,
right.
And so you're
That's
watching.
That's going to keep you up.
Exactly. That's going to keep you up. So those are the kind of things that I would like people to know about. And so,
but let's take the situation. So if this person becomes a patient of yours.
Correct.
Do you just start, how do you know what to give them so that they don't take Ambien anymore?
Okay. So in the plant, there are these compounds called cannabinoids. There are two major cannabinoids that we pretty much talk about. One is THC, which a lot of people are familiar with. It's tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the psychoactive component. It's the part that gets you high, THC, the high component. The other one is cannabidiol, CBD. And that is, I like to refer to it as the part that takes care of your body. It's your little buddy. And both of those things act on these receptors in your body. CB1 receptors, which are in your brain and central nervous system. And then you have CBD, which acts as a modulator, kind of controls things, mellows things out. And as with any other substance, the more you take of it, or the more that you have in it, the effect increases. So at smaller doses, cannabidiol is anxiolytic. It kind of brings down your anxiety, so you kind of relax. And so usually you would dose per milligrams per kilograms of body weight. But we kind of like, 10, 15 milligrams will just make it easy for you to go through your day. A lot of people suffering with anxiety get a lot of medications for anxiety. Those medications have side effects. Somnolence, right? So you're taking an anxiolytic or a medication for anxiety. It makes you sleepy, right? So now, you're not anxious, but you're not performing at the level that you should be. Then you go a little higher in the dosage and you're getting pain relief. Then you go a little higher in the dosage and then you get somnolence, puts you to sleep. So sometimes people consume cannabis and they get the feeling of the high, which is from the THC, and then they go to sleep, which is from the CBD, and they kind of put it all together and say, hey, when I consume cannabis in whatever form that I'm consuming, it helps me go to sleep. All right, not realizing there are different things within the plant that have effects on the body. And CBD is predominantly the one that will have sleep-inducing effects.
Okay, so now let's say a person is working, and they're also in pain, and they try to take some of this. What will it do to their day?
Okay. So it's important that that you understand. So what we try to do for people is give them as much education as possible. You leave my office, you leave my wellness center, you're going to be on your own for a while. And so, as I mentioned, if you are using CBD or cannabidiol as a medicine, you need to understand the dosing and the effects that you should, expect. You should also understand how you're delivering the medicine to your body and what happens as a result. And so there are different ways of getting the medicine into your body. Inhalation being one, which has a quick onset. Inhalation meaning that you're bringing it in your body through your lungs. Traditionally, people would smoke, right? You're burning the organic material. Not a big fan of that, but I know people, because basically you're burning organic material and they're the, kind of the byproducts of random combustion of, you have carcinogens. You don't know where it's coming from. So, and even though there's never been any studies that link consuming cannabis and lung cancer, you can get emphysema for that. There's something called smoker's lung. And so it breaks down like the fibrous structure of your lungs. So not a big fan of that, but you can vape it. Vape has so that's when the oils from the plant are extracted using any one of, of the major methods, which is carbon dioxide, or sometimes people use hydrocarbons. Not a big fan of those. Or you can use alcohols. And you get an oil and you attach it to one of those little vape pens. And that pen has an electronic element in it that heats the oil up to a point that you can bring it into your lungs, get the medicinal value of it, and exhale it without burning anything. That gives you a quick onset, but it has a short duration. So if you're at work and you're in pain and you want something to happen very quickly, you can medicate yourself with cannabidiol. Shouldn't be high at work, right? So we have the THC part, which is not involved in it, but you do have the CBD part, which can give you your pain relief. And you can get that and go on throughout your day without being impaired. Obviously, the more, as we spoke, the more you medicate, the more medicine you deliver to your body, the greater the results will be. Eventually, if you don't understand what you're doing, you can put yourself to sleep at work.
You bring up very, very good points here, Dr. Damas, because I think a lot of people are buying the taffy, they're buying the gummies, they're buying things, and it's pretty serious, though, and they need to go to a doctor such as yourself, who sounds like you're very well educated in this, and I definitely want to promote this for you. Do you have a website that we could tell people?
Our website is actually being reconstructed for the third time. I'm a little bit of a stickler. I'm one of those guys that likes to have everything done with
I like that.
a certain way. So we are on social media. The website is grassrootsmed.net. We have a small for our CBD products. You can purchase those through our websites, www.grassrootsmed.net. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Grassroots Medicine, Instagram, Grassroots Medicine, and Twitter. You contact us. I have an incredible staff. Those guys are awesome. So they're up and listening right now.
That's good. Well, we have two people right now. We have Dean Tendridge and Gary Bolker also watching you on Facebook Live. But I wanted to then go back to this. So you would like to have people come and see you as a patient.
Correct.
And they may not need the medical marijuana. They may come to you as a patient for other wellness situations. Is that correct?
Correct. So it's real important. So, I left basically what people consider one of the residency positions that take you to the road to happiness. So when you're a medical student, there's radiology, ophthalmology, anesthesiology, and dermatology. Those are like, if you can get one of those jobs right there, you are set for life. Yeah, you've got a comfortable lifestyle and you are going to make a lot of money. And so I left one of the golden gooses, the golden tickets of medicine to do this. And it's really important to me that it's done the right way. because of what I went through to find this.
Because your mom's always there watching.
She's always there watching. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, right. She says, "Okay, son, you're doing what makes you happy." Yes, Mom.
Yeah.
Not making a lot of money, but I'm happy.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And I enjoy. I tell you what, it's awesome. I've heard stories of people doing things and saying, "Hey, man, you'll never work a day in your life if you do what you love." And I found that. I found that, and I love what I do. So when people come in my office and they start talking to me, sometimes I tell them, listen, what you need is not marijuana. And, I don't recommend it for you. You need some other things. And that's the truth. So I'm not here to profit off of other people's misery or suffering or, their despair. That's a terrible way to make a living. I do not want to swim in that end of the pool at all. I want nothing to do with that whatsoever.
So I think the nice thing then is that you have the power to not use the opioids, but to use the cannabis.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there'll be people who just really need the acupuncture or just to have some ways for them to yoga and
Right.
other kinds of things, and that's lovely. So, what do you now? You are you're the medical director of this new organization.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, I'm the founder of Grassroots Medicine. It's mine. I'm also involved in a few other things.
Of course you would be. I mean, you couldn't just be. I mean, just looking at you, I know that. I think you should make bow ties.
You think so?
I love your bow tie. I watched Shark Tank, and there was a little kid who was 12 years old, and he wanted to make bow ties, and he's doing so well. Did he make your bow tie?
Well, I have to find him. This is actually a few years. Oh, where did I find? I don't remember where I found this.
I love that bow tie. I'm gonna have to start buying you bow ties. See,
there you go.
Everybody, some people collect things. You collect bow ties, and if not, you should do it because you look great in it.
You know what? You're collecting smiles.
But it's just you're beautiful. And give us just a minute or two about your kids. They look so cute.
Oh man, I'm really fortunate. I'll tell you that those two little guys that you won't get me to stop talking, right?
That's okay.
You've opened up. So my oldest is Miles, Myles. That's his little flair. He was named after Miles Davis, the musician.
Oh wow.
He is an awesome kid. He is honor roll student. He was named athlete of the year in his middle school. When he graduated, he's like the best kid.
Oh.
And the little one, Apollo is named
Apollo. Yeah, we know it. Apollo is Apollo.
Yeah. So,
okay, shoot for the moon, Apollo.
Yeah. So Apollo is real.
Oh, we've got a lot more people on here.
Apollo's real. So Apollo was named after the Apollo space program because I wanted to be an astronaut as a kid. So I was a little boy. I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And when I was a kid, I decided I wanted to be an astronaut. So I was just really into the space program. And, Apollo is a Greek god. He's a god of mythology. Nice. And I loved Apollo Creed from Rocky. And, it was just, I wanted a son named Apollo.
So is he living up to your expectations?
He is awesome. The two
he's
of
young,
them.
though.
Yeah,
he's
young. two and a half.
Okay.
The two of them will melt your heart because they're absolutely in love with one another. And the oldest, Miles, for example, refuses to let Apollo walk. He just wants to carry his brother everywhere. And sometimes like, hey, Miles, he can walk. I know. I know. And now he's like, so now he puts Apollo on his shoulders. So we're walking around. He's like, hey. And then Apollo's on Miles' shoulders, like, hey, Papa. And, one calls me daddy and one calls me Papa. So I got that. And I love it. I'm in love with those two guys.
Well, and that's part of the passion of why you're doing this and why you're going to be so successful.
Yeah. I love the fact that I can bring them to work with me. You know what's so great about this? I'm a medical marijuana doctor, and my kids come to work with me, and they hang out with me. And I do workshops. I did a workshop a few weeks ago, and Miles sat right next to me at the front, and he talks about what his dad does, and he's proud of me. And that makes me feel really good.
It's wonderful. Well, you know, this is funny. The interview's too short. I want to have you back again. I want to get involved with what you're doing. I want to help you. I have to really thank Rob again. Rob he's a networker. He's a great person who found you. He found me. He found a lot of other people. But we have, so many other people on this show. But, you know, I always ask, usually, but you already told me, you know, why you got involved in this, but it's obvious that you knew what you were doing. And now you're just starting. Is it actually available for people to go to now?
Yes. Right now we're in a temporary space. We're at a co-working space called The Lab in Miami. The address is 400 Northwest 26th Street. Zip code is 33127. Our wellness center will be 2328 North Miami Avenue in Wynwood. You can always call us. Telephone number is 305-912-4216. 305-912-4216. Website, grassrootsmed.net. And you can catch us on all the major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also find me there. So I get a lot of random messages, and I enjoy talking. I get really heartwarming and heart. So one of the things, this is going to make you laugh, I get a lot of hugs in my office.
Of course. Hugs are important. Every patient. I have had a doctor that every patient is hugged. Everybody's hugged because everybody needs that. And you just have this great look on your face, and I can just see your mom. So proud of you and what you've done, and I want to get to see you a lot more, and thank you for being on our show.
Thank you for having me, and you are just lighting up the room.
Between us. Well, so, you know, when you find people that you respect and you have passion for, it's one big passionate love affair here, right?
Yep.
So thank you again.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to coming